Thank you for joining us here at Inside Track Marketing and Media. We are a full-service marketing, advertising, and media agency located out of the Twin Cities of Minneapolis and St. Paul. So we would like to share with you today some of the modern ways that companies are using innovative technology to promote their exhibits at trade shows. We just wrapped up a really successful one for a client, and pretty amazing what we were able to do for them as far as bringing traffic to their booth, and then even subsequently after the show, maintaining that awareness of their brand. And using things like geofencing, retargeting, one-to-one email marketing, and then using automation to convert leads into warm leads anyway. We were able to do that. So we wanted to just share this with you today, and we welcome an opportunity to talk further with you about your company and how we can put this kind of technology to use for you. So what is going on in trade show marketing? Basically, you probably won't hear this from the trade show producers because a lot of this they don't really do, but effective trade show promotion has dramatically changed. And so we wanted to share with you kind of where it's been. Obviously, if you're involved in trade shows, these are very familiar tactics to you. Having a booth, plain and simple. Having brochures and spec sheets and promotional items, giveaways at your booth. Using the show provided scanning technology where you can scan a badge and then that goes into, you basically can own that data. Ads in the show program or the show guide, or ads on their website, tradeshow.com, things like that, where they basically are gathering their audiences and then enabling you to tap into those audiences. On the show site itself, obviously they have things like video screens in high traffic areas, graphic ads in high traffic areas. Meet and greet spaces and places for you to kind of host events. And on the show floor itself in your booth, typically what's going on are things like your staff are writing notes on note cards or a notebook or some type of way to write what kind of conversations they've had with folks, follow-up requirements, things like that. It tends to be kind of very scurry oriented. As they go from one conversation to another. And then, of course, many shows are offering a dedicated email program where they deploy your email design to their audience that they own. They do it all as far as the deployment. It's not something that you get to actually have those email addresses, but you do get to get your message in front of them through the show. Typically for a really high rate. So those are some pretty common tactics that have been going on for years and years, and we want to share with you what's kind of different going on now, and how to, eventually we're going to show you how to even take some of those traditional tactics that maybe you still have to do for certain reasons, and we want to help you modernize those, and we'll walk you through that later. But first and foremost, what's going on with modern tactics? Of course, booths are always of value, and I know that you invest a great deal of your budgets in those booths. And so that said, you can obviously, that still makes sense for a lot of your premier shows. But a lot of companies are kind of struggling with the costs of shows, from getting their teams there to set up to tear down, and all that good stuff, and that the proliferation of shows is dramatic. So in today's world with technology, you don't have to be at every show to be able to have exposure at that show. And so how do you do that? Well, we will help you with technology to enable you to provide electronic brochures and electronic spec sheets right from the show floor into a customer or prospect's inbox. All available online on your show floor right there. So same thing with your own online sign-in as opposed to the badge scanning. We have heard over and over again that when it comes to scanning badges, there are a lot of kind of junk emails on those badges. And so we can enable a way for you to have your own way for someone to sign on in your booth to receive things that when you're doing your giveaways. Part of that giveaway is they have to sign up for it. And to do so, they have to use a business email. So that's one way to use the online sign-in at the booth. The other is to use that to distribute those brochures and product sheets and things like that immediately. So the other thing we do is geofencing. And geofencing is perhaps the best use of digital advertising that there is, particularly when it comes to trade shows, because what we are able to do is to actually wrap an invisible net around a convention center or an event site and serve your ads to those attendees who are in that footprint. It's pretty amazing technology, and we serve it on mobile devices. We can do it at the event itself. We can do it in and around the event. So show hours, we obviously would geofence the event, and then after show hours, we can geofence things like restaurants, hotels, coffee shops, things like that. Wherever those folks that are still your targets might be that when the show is not active. We can also geofence not just digital ads, static ads, we can actually geofence video ads. So as someone is walking through a trade show and they're on their mobile device, we can serve them an ad, your video while they're doing so. And then we can also do what's called retargeting. And retargeting is also a top tactic in digital. It's extremely efficient. And what retargeting does is basically says, or what we do is we take your message and we send it to folks who were either at the show as an attendee, or maybe they engaged with one of your geofence digital ads, either way, we can also use retargeting on your website, so anybody that comes across your website. And basically what we do is we are able to capture and place a little pixel, what's called a pixel, on that device from which they came. So whether it's mobile or it could be a desktop, things like that. So once we have that pixel placed, we're actually able to serve them your ads wherever they are on the web. So it's very personalized to them. So wherever they go, if they go to buyanewhome.com and that's where they're spending their time, we can still serve that ad to them, keeping you fresh in the minds of those folks who are at the show. We also enable you to either use your CRM or our free CRM to keep notes on the show floor. And by doing so, all that follow-up work of tracking notes and trying to read things that are kind of hard to read because they've been scribbled fast or they're unorganized or unclear, all of that then kind of goes away because it's synced right into your CRM while the show is live. So no more follow-up work from that regard of getting that data in. It's actually already in and it's actionable. And how is it actionable? Well, we use automation. And automation is a must-have for mid-size and smaller companies today. It's been kind of the secret weapon of large business, and they use it extensively and have for many, many years, and it's helped build them to be the size of company they are today. And but automation is now very affordable for businesses of any sizes and, or excuse me, of any size, and it's what we use to help enable all of these modern tactics to happen seamlessly. So, and the other thing that's very modern is to prioritize your leads. When you think of a trade show and the masses of people that walk up and down the aisles and stop in and say hello, some are hotter prospects than others. And so we're going to help you prioritize those so that your team is spending their time with leads that have the most opportunity to actually close. And then we can help you with social media and kind of the modern way to use automation to track social media posts and then actually be able to trigger automated communications based on people who engage with your posts. It's all just pretty super cool. So to start off, we want to just kind of really focus in on a few of those things we talked about. One of them being geofencing. So what is geofencing? It is, again, casting that net over an event or basically a GPS-based location. It can be extremely specific. It can be a house if you were going after a consumer. It can be a convention center as a whole. It can be a series of buildings. You can actually even wrap a net over your competitors if you wanted to and serve your ads within their building. Or what is often used by automotive is what's called conquesting, where they actually put a geofence over their competitors across the street, different dealers across the street, so that the ad of XYZ dealer is actually being served to A, B, and C, and E, D, and F. So it's a pretty powerful technology. It's extremely affordable, and it's highly focused on an exact target. So that's what we bring to modern trade show marketing. So you might wonder, well, how do we do that? So it starts with us scheduling your digital. Obviously, we have your creative, and then we schedule your digital ads and have them sent to those mobile devices of attendees while they're connected to the web. So they're on a tablet or a mobile phone. Typically, it's going to be mobile. As long as they're on the web, we can serve them an ad. And again, we can drop a net around area locations that they come and go from. And we can also, this is kind of key, as mentioned earlier, you don't always have to be an exhibitor because we can actually use geofencing to give you exposure to any trade show you might want to be involved with, but yet not want that big investment of having a booth. Which is actually a pretty cool thing because you don't necessarily have to have a booth, particularly at some of those smaller shows, but you can still kind of interrupt a competitor's advantage who might actually have a booth at the time. So from a technology standpoint, how does it work? Basically, they kind of come into the net, if you will, the fence, and while they're in this geography, we're able to ID them and serve them those ads. And we serve them the ads whether they're on websites or even in apps. So retargeting. So retargeting, again, is serving ads to your warm leads, those who have already been exposed to you either at the trade show, via maybe they went to your website, maybe they clicked on an ad that you use from a geofencing standpoint. It's basically once they've kind of engaged with your brand to some degree, we consider those to be warm leads. And so we're able to then kind of basically reserve them your ads. And we use various tactics to do that as far as trying to get them to convert. So we want to get them either back to your website, we want to get them to a landing page where we have a special offer for them or something to incent them to be involved with you, and basically driving the ability to convert them to get better engaged with your brand, your products, your sales team, things like that. So part of a really cohesive trade show marketing program is modern email marketing, and in particular dynamic email marketing. And this is not what you normally get through something like a Constant Contact or MailChimp as examples. They do have some automations they're trying now, but it's not nearly the extent to which we can deliver a really engaged opportunity with your customers and your prospects. So what does that mean? It's still one-to-one marketing, but it's fueled through automation. And by doing so, everything is very personalized to the recipient. But automation can help us. We basically set some rules in advance and prioritize in advance and things like that. And then when the time comes, the system will determine which email a prospect receives based on who they are and what their interests are, when they should receive it, what happens if they open it, what if they don't open it, who should be notified internally, what lists we should add them to so that we can market to them further based on relevance. And just it's a hugely robust opportunity for you to engage with your customers regardless of the stage of which they are in the buying cycle. So they might be just newly learning about your brand to at the point of decision making, and how you talk to them is going to be very different depending on where they are. And automation and dynamic email marketing is going to help you communicate to them seamlessly, but not having to do it manually all the time. So it's an end-to-end solution that is really truly driving big business now. So it might sound formidable, but we actually help you. It's a lot easier than it may sound, because the system itself is super easy and it's all in one. Everything is built in to help the average marketer perform like they're a super big team of professionals. So what is automation? It's basically all of these things rolled up into a cloud-based month-to-month subscription. So it's, like I said, it's very affordable, but it's also very powerful. And that's what makes it so great. So to kind of wrap it up a little bit, from a modern trade show marketing standpoint, the tools of the trade are things like geofencing, retargeting, personalizing through that one-to-one email marketing, which is also in the process a nurture vehicle. Again, because of whatever stage they might be, you communicate to them based on that to help them further their interest in your products, and then ultimately convert. And so, as we also mentioned earlier, wanted to let you know some ways to take some of those more traditional trade show requirements and convert them into modern, ultimately, we understand and we realize that trade show producers have a lot of power when it comes to your booth and the location and inclusion in their promotional activity. And they do carry some weight, obviously. So in some cases, we work with folks who have premium booth space and are required by doing, by having that space and that location, they have to spend X amount with the show from an advertising and promotion standpoint. So they're kind of stuck. But that said, there are ways to repurpose that budget so that you get better control over it instead of having the show producer kind of own it. And so how do you do that? Well, in the show program, let's say you have an ad in the show program. The key is to have a fully branded conversion web page or landing page that ad is driving to, not just your general website, but actually something that is trackable, where that guest or that visitor to that page can be converted through a form, can be tracked, again, with a pixel or some way to track them going forward so that you can market to them independently of the show going forward. If you are doing those large on-site video displays, make sure you're using something that engages folks. So promoting that they text something via their mobile devices to win a big grand prize or something like that. So rather than it just be a snazzy video of your product, make sure there's something compelling that's asking an audience to do something. And by doing that, then it again typically will drive to a landing page where they become engaged and trackable, and you can market to them further. Same with any static visual graphic ads in those high traffic areas as well. Same thing, do something that is engaging and interactive. You're asking them to participate with you rather than just watch you. And then using marketing automation for your meet and greet spaces, and you're using that one-to-one automated email to invite, remind, check in, thank them. You're notifying your internal staff of who's going to be there. People check in so you know who was there and who wasn't. All of that can be managed through that really affordable marketing automation platform. We use SharpSpring, and we've been with SharpSpring for about 4.5, 5 years now. We use it for all of our clients. It's just probably it's the fastest growing automation platform, and we can help you get on board with that. And then in the case where you are buying that paid email marketing list that they are deploying to, which again is an extremely expensive proposition, but at the same time, it is a highly focused audience list. So, we certainly appreciate that. But the key is to have you drive them to some way that a special offer, something that you can then convert them and you can capture their data yourselves so that you can market to them further. And then the following year, when you are kind of redeploying that same proposition with the show in order to keep that great booth space, that great location, you can actually provide them a list of leads that you already have and have them back those out of their database. And so you are always getting fresh leads that you are, or fresh prospects that your message is being sent to, and not to prospects that you already own. So those are some ways that you can take that you have to do stuff, but actually try to convert it to something that you have much greater control over. And so a little bit about us. Again, we're Inside Track Marketing and Media. My name is Lisa Toren, and I'm the founder of Inside Track, and been in media and advertising and software and creative services and marketing and all that kind of stuff for quite some time. Alongside my friend Heidi Garcia, who is our Chief Operating Officer. She has tremendous experience in sales development, talent acquisition, training and development, national sales, advertising, and again, business ownership. So pretty good team together as leaders of Inside Track. And then we have a team of strategists and media buyers and planners and creative folks and process gurus and digital experts and things like that. So we do just about everything an ad agency could do for you, and we are extremely efficient. So, and we are, in full disclosure, we are a SharpSpring automation partner, and which means that not only do we use it for our own business, but we use it for all of our clients. And we are able to help folks like you get on board with automation on a month-to-month, no contract basis. Try it and see what happens. So all the best to you. And again, thanks for stopping by.